ska, 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 Jamaica, ska, Well, that was Keith-Lynn Copen of the popular song Jamaica Ska, entertaining the audience at the launch of Jamaica's 60th, the Florida edition. All year long, we are in a celebratory mode. Reigniting a nation for greatness is the theme. Hello there and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Today we get the facts on the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, celebrating 60 years. On the flip side, we highlight one way in which the government is securing potable water for its people. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. How much do you know about the Jamaica Archives and Records Department? Whether it's a little or a lot, we've got you covered. Let's get the facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. Our focus today is the Records Information Management, otherwise known as RIM program, of the government, which is important for so many reasons. To explore what RIM is all about and the benefits, we have with us Mrs. Claudette Thomas, Government Archivist at the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, which we call for short, JARD. Welcome to the program, Mrs. Thomas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry.
Let's jump right into it. Our time is limited. What is JARD?
JARD, Jamaica Archives and Records Department, it's an arm of government which implements records and information management for all our government.
Right.
So we are under the Office of the Prime Minister, and we are in a program which is that critical arm supporting the information communication technologies of the Office of the Prime Minister, which seeks to transform government and to have a modernized process of service to the public.
All right. So you said quite a bit that I think we're going to have to unpack a bit, because when I, as a citizen, think about records information management, I just think about my name and something on a piece of paper in an office somewhere. Why does records information management matter?
It matters because government is the largest consumer.
Consumer, not gatherer.
And gatherer. So
I get gatherer, but consumer?
Yes. Government consume a lot of information, and they also gather the most information in any country. So because of this, it is important that we have all the records properly organized. But remember, we're looking at information, and information cannot exist unless it sits on a platform for it to be a record.
Help me out with that one now.
All right, so you will have information is really transient, it is intangible, but information is needed as evidence to support the transaction of business, to ensure that government administration is effective and efficient.
Just business? Are there other elements to the records information management system that makes it important?
Service. So government service can be enhanced if we have appropriate and effective records and information management within their sector.
Ah, all right. And I imagine that history is also a big part of this as well.
Okay, so another important component is so that we are able to capture the cultural and documentary heritage of our country. So if we have not effectively managed our records, we would have had gaps in the history and the culture of our people.
Which is a question of where we come from. But you know, Lady Thomas, as I think about this and I'm considering, there must be some things, there must be a standard to which records information management has to be kept for it to be useful. Could you help us?
Okay, so there is an international standard, ISO 15.04.2022, which speaks to records and documentation, how they should be managed. And that best practice, Jamaica has been adhering to it since 2003, thereabout.
Right.
But we also have other guidelines. There is that legislation, the Archives Act, the Archives Regulation, and recently we had in 2018 Cabinet Decision 2518, which allowed for this new GOJ, Records and Information Management Policy. And
Right.
a plug out now is that program that we now manage.
All right, this program, Records Information Management, RIM, who is required to participate?
Well, let's say all public servants, all government officials, and it will benefit all the individuals we serve,
Right.
the citizens of this country. So the senior officers, permanent secretaries, CEOs, all of these individuals are required to ensure the effective and efficient management of their records in the entities they manage.
All right, so I'm just following the thread here. You're mentioning that the data is important. It's important today. Data from yesteryear is important. It's about who we are. It's how the government runs. It's about the services the government runs. And this involves everybody who gathers information.
It involves everyone.
So,
But
okay. Yes.
I'd like us to understand that while we speak of records, we need not exchange words with data.
All right.
Because data speaks to a small subset in a database. And while government collects data, they will need to get it to a point of a record to
Right.
support the process for authenticity, reliability, and
Right.
authoritative, for it to be authoritative.
All right. So we have all this data. We're going to, I believe you're describing what RIM is supposed to be doing.
Yep.
We're going to make it useful information and authoritative and authentic information. So how is RIM being implemented?
Okay, so I thought you wouldn't ask. The government started out that program, started implementing, and it is in collaboration with Cabinet Office, the Office of the Prime Minister, and Jamaica Archives and Records Department, and also all ministries, departments, and agencies. It is where we have engaged all entities and encourage them to come on board. So far, we have started to engage the program with 3 cohorts of entities.
This is a training program.
The training program.
Right.
And that is where we have had these entities implementing the Records and Information Management System, which speaks to the creation, use,
Yes.
maintenance, and disposition of the records which are created.
All right, we're going to go to a very short break right now. We've been talking about records information management with Claudette Thomas. Now, don't go anywhere. We continue this conversation on the other side of this break.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I only we have to celebrate it now. They say the people them, you know, them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, oh no, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal panta for it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre.
Why pre?
Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
If you don't know the app to get the updates then.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. Our discussion continues on records information management with Mrs. Claudette Thomas, Government Archivist at the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, otherwise known as JARD. Now, we talked about well-managed information as a strategy to good administration and the government's drive to make this a reality. But let's continue our conversation with some of the obstacles. What are some of the obstacles that we face as a nation and government in getting good records, good data assets that can now become information?
All right. Thank you for that question. Strangely enough, one of the greatest obstacles is our perception. So often in countries of the metropolis, information and record keeping is given high priority. We do not value information as we should. And that is one of our major hindrances. Another challenge, really, is that public servants are unwilling to change the modus operandi.
Do you mean paper versus digital?
Yes.
That sort of thing?
There's that resistance to change, not too sure, so you keep all the paper you can. You store it until Jamaica is drowning in paper. Or you say, but the things that the emails I'm sending, these are not records. This is my personal thing. How are you going to tell me how to manage my emails? Those are not records. But we need to understand that the paper, it's a technological component. And now that we have a digital space in which we function, we still need to manage those records which are generated, because the records need to speak to some transaction. Yeah. They must be authentic, they must be reliable, they must be authoritative. And so these should be treated similar. So be it digital, be it audiovisual, be it paper, they all should be managed in an efficient manner. We would like all the ministries, departments and agencies to complete at least their manual RIM program. So the manual RIM program that we're encouraging them to go ahead and start it in only 3 divisions. 3 divisions, but they need to do the slew of activities, meaning they need to establish their charter, they need to have their survey conducted, establish the RIM committee, establish all the governance framework.
If I could just jump in here, survey meaning an idea of the information they already possess.
Yes, they need to. If you are running a business, you need to know what you have in stock. So that survey needs to be conducted. Procedures manual, policy, and or classification scheme, retention schedule, and then as the process goes on, we will have the disposition of those which are really not records, but they are clutter and they are taking up space. We move right into ERIM, because ERIM is a conservation process which helps to improve systems. The fact of how we execute a process, so we may cut out some stages, but it creates efficiency and it allows for individuals to work from anywhere in the world they are. Getting access to the records.
Which we have gotten a taste of. JARD is celebrating 60 years of service. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We realize that the name was adopted in 1985 to consolidate historical and more modern records spanning over 3 centuries in Jamaica. I was not aware of that. So I just want you to give us some highlights of JARD, and in particular the RIM program, what has been going on, what successes you've had, and looking towards the future as well.
Okay, so some of the successes Jamaica has acquired or accomplished. In, say, 1962, February 15, 1962, they had the opening of the first purpose design archive in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean?
In the Caribbean. All right. Then in 1982, they had the legislation which was drawn up and adopted, proclaimed. And then in 1988, we had a regulation established for records management. In 2003, we had the international standard which was adopted, and in 2018 we had the new government records and information management policy. Since that policy, we've had the policy really is being managed under 5 areas: legislation, policy, and regulations, then human resources, and the next area, which is the biggie for me, looking at having a new JARD, a new national library. I shouldn't call it a new national archive, pardon me.
Right.
For Jamaica. And the process will also include data collection and information sharing. And then we will also have that component which looks at the RIM system. So what we've been working on extensively now, we've started it from 2015, 39 entities so far have started to implement that records and information management system in their entities, meaning they have already established their committees, they have also conducted surveys, developed a number of tools to manage the process, and so they continue to accomplish that process. And coming soon, we'll have a new cohort. So we implemented with cohort 1, 2, and 3, 39 entities. We are looking forward to another group to commence this year. So the process continues, and the government is fully behind this program. You need to recognize that data privacy, personal privacy, and your security can be managed and controlled if you are aware of what exists and how it is managed. The Jamaica Archives and Records Department offers you that quality support, and we ask that you join us as we continue into the beyond.
Well said. We could speak at length about this area of the government, but time does not allow. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Mrs. Claudette Thomas, Government Archivist at the Jamaica Archives and Records Department, otherwise known as JARD. Thank you for watching, and until next time, where we get more of the facts, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.
Jamaica is known for its tropical climate, which brings warm weather. While showers are possible all year round, the land is not free from periods of drought. January to March and July are classified as the dry seasons, with February being the driest month, on average producing just about 15 millimeters of rain, or roughly 3 rainy days. And so the need for artificial recharge systems. An artificial recharge system is used to store excess water for use later, like periods of drought. The water stored in these wells can be put to environmental, agricultural, and urban uses. In order to serve the communities in St. Catherine and the Kingston metropolitan area, government constructed the Innswood Artificial Recharge System.
Water is critical, and it is a part of the agenda of the government that we provide these resources to improve the quality of life.
The St. Catherine-based facility is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank at a cost of $1.07 billion. Situated on 68 acres of land, it is the largest artificial aquifer recharge system in Central America and the Caribbean. It diverts approximately 5 million gallons of water per day from the Rio Cobra River through the National Irrigation Commission NIC Canal during the wet season.
The question of water is critical, whether it is water for domestic or agricultural purpose. This is a facility that is providing the resources in terms of water that is badly needed in this part of St. Catherine to deal with the agricultural side of the parish.
The construction of this station involves a raw water intake structure, as well as inlet structures for 2 infiltration wells, 3 sinkholes and 2.1 kilometers of pipelines. The facility treats the raw water from the old harbour branch of the NIC Canal through a series of settling basins that remove sediments, pollutants and other particles. This will ensure that the water is of good quality. These wells need to be recharged to ensure easy access to potable water.
You might see the water going away and going through the system, but it is being stored because it's going into the aquifer itself. This is a limestone aquifer, so it is very easy for that operation to take place actually, because the nature of the limestone, the cracks and the fissures is such that the injection of the water into the aquifer is guaranteed.
Having seen the successful implementation of the Innswood underground water recharge system, government is examining the feasibility of replicating it in Manchester and St. Elizabeth.
Touring this facility, looking at the tremendous output that has been laid down at this facility. And this is something I will engage the technical people in a discussion on, to see how best we can replicate this in other parishes where there is a severe need for this commodity, especially in parishes such as Manchester and St. Elizabeth, where, you know, that section of the island accounts for a significant portion of what goes to the market that is placed on the tables of the homes across the country.
Water is a primary commodity in the development process. It is critical to production and the quality of life.
We have the capacity to provide water, but it has to be done in a regulated and in a structured way.
That is why we have a system like this in place to help to give that guarantee of the delivery of the resource.
But our daddy never liked Mr. Joe. Him see over there with him head under the ground, and him clothes like him hang up on one nail. Him call our money right in front of Mr. Joe, the day before the wedding should have keep.
Be careful, girl. Don't turn yourself a fool. Let Joe make him galang with him ring.
If you follow that old man, you never married. If you follow that old man, you never married. Mr. Joe board the train and left Lizzie Jane. So she puff, so she holla, so she bark.
This is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica.
Mr. South Florida, we no easy, you know. Jamaica no have nothing for we, you hear? Because when we hear about all the pieces of Jamaica that the 60th anniversary plan for do, hey, as so me know say, South Florida I go turn yard. Yes, yard abroad. After all, nowhere no better than yard.
Jamaica 60, reigniting a nation for greatness.
On August 6, 1962, as the black, green, and gold was raised, we took control of the government of our beautiful island after nearly 400 years of colonial rule. Even before then, we were determined to forge our own destiny to become, in the words of our national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, masters of our own destiny, masters of our own fate. For people who had recently emerged from colonialism and slavery, this was a challenging task of great responsibility. 60 years later, here we are, a global brand, acclaimed by other nations of the world for our accomplishments that have vastly outmeasured our geographical size, boasting a motto of out of many, one people.
Could you be love? Could you be love? Could you be? Hey. Don't let them change you.
Everybody wants the same thing down there. Everybody wants a happy end. They wanna see the game on Saturday. They wanna be somebody's friend.
When I tell you that times are getting critical, I don't want you to worry. No, I never want you to fret.
As part of our determination to reignite the flames of our development, I want to invite you all to share with us in consolidating the legacy we leave for our children, including generations yet unborn. In celebrating who we are at 60, we celebrate not only what we have accomplished in Jamaica, but also how we have contributed to the places where we find ourselves.
You sing one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's have dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Have pity on those whose chances grow ten up. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation.
Hold on. Wait me now. One love. Minister, your turn.
One heart, let's get together and feel alright.
Big up the minister. One love, one heart.
Let's get together and feel alright.
This is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth.
Jamaica 60, reigniting a nation for greatness.
And that's all the time we have left today on this show. Do join us again tomorrow on this same station for another exciting installment of Jamaica Magazine. To re-watch today's offering or other content like this, visit our YouTube channel or website, jis.gov.jm. We would love to hear from you. So, visit our social media pages. They are available. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. From all of us here at the JIS, have yourself a wonderful Sunday. I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.